Welcome to the 2 Acre Homestead Podcast. I'm your host, Lisa. On today's episode, we're going to be talking to you about getting it all done on the homestead. Welcome to the 2 Acre Homestead. Come along with us on our journey from a small suburban homestead lifestyle to our new lifestyle, homesteading in the rural countryside of southern Arizona. We'll share with you our tips, tricks, successes, and failures from both our past suburban lifestyle to our new rural lifestyle, all on the 2 Acre Homestead. Welcome back. Thanks for listening to the podcast today. So today we are talking about getting everything done that we need to on our homesteads. I'm really directing this particular episode to the homemakers, those of us who have children, we're homesteading, and we are balancing all the things. So I don't want this episode to alienate one person or not. All of the principles that we are going to be talking about can be applied to just about everything, every aspect of homesteading life. In fact, just every aspect in life in general. But I'm really directing this conversation more towards the homemaker. And like I just said, as homesteading wives, we have, if you're like me, I've got little kids, I've got toddlers, we homestead, we both work. There's just a lot of plates that we are balancing every single day, not to mention keeping ourselves balanced, spiritually speaking, as well, by reading our Bibles daily, participating in our ministry, just all the things. So there's a lot of spinning plates that we have as homemakers, keeping up with things like your laundry, your house chores. How do you keep it all and get it all done? I know for myself personally, I'm a relatively new mom. So I am not coming at you guys from the aspect of, oh, listen to me, I have it all together. No. But I feel like this should be a topic that's discussed just a little bit more in the homesteading realm, because really, there's just a lot that we have to manage as homemakers and homesteading moms. So I'm just going to share some things that have been working for me since, especially since being a mom, because I think I have a more interesting perspective in that I have been homesteading without children, and I am now homesteading with children. And so I've had to pivot and make some drastic changes. And I thought I would share some of those things with you. That way it can kind of give you guys some inspiration, some encouragement, because honestly, sometimes as moms, we just feel like, can I get a break? And I actually wrote a blog post about that, and go ahead and check that out on our website, the2acrehomestead.com, where I talk about how I just, I was dealing with 2 kids back to back. And well, you guys can just go ahead and read the blog. I was trying to interject some comedy in there, but it's stressful. So some of the things that I found, especially transitioning from not having children to having children on a homestead, one of the first things I found in my short-term experience is I need to always have a clean home. Now, I have been given advice since the day we had our eldest son. Um, Everybody has always said the same thing over and over again. And that is, don't worry about your house. If your house is dirty, if your dishes have piled up, your house isn't going to look the same. It's going to be messy, and that's okay. And to an extent, yes, I completely agree with that advice to a small extent. When you have one child, and this is not to put anybody down with one child, but when you have one child, it's kind of easy to balance things. But when you introduce that second child, oh yeah, that's where the whole dynamic changes. And for me, our children are just about a year apart. So yeah, when our youngest son came, our oldest, he was 18 months old. So, he's full toddler, and, and then you have this infant child, and you've got to get things done lickety split. And you've got to take care of things because he's walking, or at least my oldest, he was already, he's on the move, he's on the go. And, there's no time for mom to be slow. And yes, those first few months that my second child, the first few months after his birth, yeah, the house was always just a constant mess. And then I felt myself kind of spiraling into this situation where I just couldn't get a handle on anything. And what I discovered, the biggest problem that I was having is my house wasn't clean to the standards that I view cleanliness as. So what I did is by that point, my sister was living with us. Her and her husband were living with us. They took the kids, and I power cleaned my house like a boss. Did that for a couple of days. And I cleaned that house like nobody's business. Top to bottom. The house had not seen a cleaning like that in days. In years, actually. Excuse me. And the other thing that I did is I removed everything. I got rid of it was I don't know where. I'm laughing because I don't know where I got the energy for that, but I did it, and I was determined to do it. I got rid of knickknacks, stuff that, I didn't want to clean anymore, stuff I didn't want to look at. It was like I had a truckload of stuff that went to the Goodwill. I'm not kidding you. And the house looked pretty empty. It was furniture, table, decorative things got put up and boxed, and pretty much just pictures on the walls. That was it. It was like bare bones. And I did that for a reason. I did it because I wanted my house to be just super clean. I wanted to have a starting baseline. And I also wanted to get rid of anything and everything that made my house feel like it was cluttered. Like I've got a lot of stuff to tend to. And I did that so that way I could change my focus onto the things that mattered and not the little knickknacks. And it was kind of symbolic for me because I was changing my focus not just on the knickknacks in my house, but the knickknacks in my life too. Everything and anything that didn't serve a purpose, an immediate purpose, needed to be either boxed, and it will come out later when my children are older and I can make sure these things don't get broken, or, I have more, I call it bandwidth or more brain power or more time to deal with those things. Otherwise, those things are just boxed up. And I'm okay with that.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Are you looking to build a homestead from the ground up? Or maybe you're looking to build an off-grid dream home, a vacation home, or maybe just a piece of land to call your own. Visit yourcheapland.com to buy rural land in the wide open spaces of southwestern United States. When you visit yourcheapland.com, they're here to help you, and with their help, you can do this. You can take your dream of owning land and make it a reality. Most down payments are only $294, including the document fee. Remember, everyone qualifies for financing at yourcheapland.com. Head on over to yourcheapland.com and start making those dreams come true. And now, back to our podcast. And so that was my first thing. I had to start with a house that was super, super clean. The other thing I started figuring out is that I started putting my children's toys on a rotational basis. And ladies, this was a game changer for me. Because what I have been finding is that, our kids have a ton of toys because, our kids are still toddlers. So, we have all of the developmental toys and all of these things, but they create clutter. They create mess. They create something I'm constantly picking up. But what I have found is by just, letting the kids play with, I keep the limit to 4 or 5 toys. That's it for the day. Then at the end of the day, those 4 or 5 toys get put back in a box and they get put up in the closet. And while the kids are asleep at night, I will drag out 4 or 5 other toys for them to play with the following day. And the same goes with books, 4 or 5 books, and that's it. And that way my children aren't here, there, and everywhere with 1,000 toys everywhere. And that way they are able to focus on a few things at a time. Now, I'm fortunate because my boys have each other. I have 2 children. They've got each other. They can play with each other. They're at an age now where they're starting, hey, we can play with each other and we can kick the ball to each other. They can do things together. And so what I'm finding is that, it's just nice to just let them play together, and having 4 or 5 toys out is plenty. Because what I'm forcing my children to do is to use their imagination, which is where they should be at this point in their lives anyway. So that's really my big thing, is just starting out with a clean slate. After that is making sure everything is organized. And that was the other thing I did when I super cleaned my house, is I got everything organized. Everything had a place. And if I couldn't find a place for said thing in my house, then it needed to go because it didn't belong. And I know that sounds harsh, and especially right now where things are, tight, and supply chains and everything like that, please keep in mind, I started this journey in 2019. So, this was during the height of, the start of the pandemic is when I started this journey. But this is what worked for me. And like I said, if you don't want to get rid of it, then put it in a box and put it someplace. until you can deal with it later, but get it out of your sight. So that way you don't have to deal with it until a little bit later. But keeping yourself organized, that was my next mission. And I really defaulted to that because when I was working in the business world, I had to be organized. I mean, I couldn't just like show up to work and be like, oh, I've got a meeting today. I didn't know I have a meeting today. And oh, my boss wants to take us out to lunch. I didn't know, no. You have to have things organized when you're in the working world. Well, I'm treating my organizational skill, I'm taking that same organizational skill set that I had in the working world and putting that in my family world and in my homesteading world as well. So by keeping yourself organized, whether it's like for myself, I like to have, spreadsheets on my animals. My husband does most of the animal husbandry, the actual physical animal husbandry, but I keep track of things for him on spreadsheets. So, for example, if we have rabbits that have kindled, which means they're giving birth, I keep that on a spreadsheet. Which rabbit had how many? What were the health of those particular kits that she had? Did they grow out? And keeping track of them all the way to butcher weight. That's how I know what stats go with my rabbits. Just using that as an example. It's the same with the kids. I keep everything on a calendar. I keep their, with our children, I keep everything as far as their doctor's appointments, milestones, everything. All of that stuff is written down either in a digital calendar because we are very digital. So I like to have my digital calendar. And I also keep track digitally in the cloud, my children's milestones. I also keep track of things that need to get done in my house. So when I'm walking around and I take stock, I don't do it all the time, but I try to walk my house, the inside of my house. I walk my kitchen, because I live practically in my kitchen right now. And I get myself organized. And tell myself, what am I going to cook this week? It's on a Monday morning. I walk into the kitchen. What are we going to eat as a family this week? Well, that's going to dictate to me what I'm going to be taking out of the freezer as far as meat is concerned. Then I take the meat that I think that my family is going to consume for the week. I place it in a bowl and I put it in my refrigerator and I let it thaw. I keep myself organized in that way. I don't meal plan because when it comes to cooking, I'm a creative. I love following recipes rather loosely. I love creating my own recipes. And I love cooking on the fly, but by having an idea of what I want to present to my family as far as nourishment is concerned, as far as food is concerned, that starts on a Monday morning for me by thinking, what things do I want to cook for my family this week? And then I place those things in the refrigerator. I try to keep on top of different things like laundry. I hate laundry. It is the worst chore. I would rather scrub floors and toilets than do laundry. It's not my favorite thing in the world to do. But that being said, whether or not it's my favorite thing to do or not, it doesn't matter. It has to get done. And if I do it in an organized way, it saves me stress. It saves my family stress. So everybody in my family, we're a family of 4, everybody has a laundry day. Now, my husband, like for example, my husband is on Monday, I'm on Tuesday, the boys are on Wednesday, everybody's bedding is on Thursday, and Friday is anything and everything that's gotten left behind. I don't do laundry on the weekends. I give myself that time. And the reason why is because usually we're entertaining on the weekends. And we're usually, or going and doing something fun. We try to get off of our homestead on sometime on the weekend, either a Saturday or Sunday is our time to get off the homestead to give ourselves a mental break. So no laundry. That's how I do it. I try to keep to that schedule. It's hard, ladies. It's hard. There are just days you just have to for lack of better term, suck it up, buttercup. You just got to do it. You just got to pull up your pantyhose and say, I am here. I'm going to get this done, whether I like it or not. But the more you can stay organized, and organization, typically when I hear people say organization, it used to be years ago that I would get like frantic, like, oh, it's going to take me forever and ever and ever to get organized. No, organization simply means little bits at a time. That is the easiest way to stay organized. Using the laundry as an example, do a little bit every day. Don't try to do your whole entire family's laundry on one day. If you did that, you would wear yourself out. But if you can break it up and just do a little bit here, a little bit there, you're giving yourself breathing room to do other things, because we all know as homesteaders, we've got a lot of things going on. So we've got animal chores to take care of. We've got all of those other things going on, plus our families, plus laundry, plus dinner, plus lunch, plus homeschooling, all of those things. But if we take each and every one of our responsibilities and we do just a little bit here, a little bit there, and we do it on the daily, you'll accomplish something. Walk your house, write down, this is what I need to do today. This is what I need to do tomorrow. This room has been irritating me because the kids keep stuffing this and that wherever, or I need to get my windows washed because little fingerprints are all over it and dog nose smear is everywhere. Write those things down and put them in your schedule. Schedule them out to do a little bit here, a little bit there, and you'll accomplish a lot. And then in all of this, as homemakers, we want to make sure that we put our families first. And our decisions that we make as homesteaders, every decision that we make is a culinary decision. Newsflash. Every decision that a homesteader makes is a culinary decision, because it is going to eventually make its way into the kitchen. It's going to, in one way, shape, or form, affect something that you're going to do in the kitchen. But all of that being said, when you start to look at things from how is this going to benefit my family? How can I culinarily, let's say, is this going to benefit my family? Is having a dairy animal, is this going to benefit my family? Or is this just something that I want because I just want this? Is having a garden and growing vegetables, is this going to benefit my family? Asking yourself those hard questions because you are trying to put your family first. Because as homemakers, we are the caretakers of our home, not just the physical building of our home and the workings and goings on of our home, but the people who are in it. And let's face it, we as homemakers, we are creating a culture within our family. Every family, no matter how large or small the family, whether it's just you and your spouse or you and 8 kids, every single family has a culture to it. You have things that you do on the regular that make your family unique. And as homemakers, we're really the ones who are creating this culture. I had this recent aha moment, and to those of you who have been raising children for some time, you're probably thinking, welcome to the club. But I had this aha moment where I realized, as mothers, we really set the tone. And our children and our husbands, they feed off of mom's tone. They feed off of mom's mood. And whether we want to accept that or not, whether you like it or not, I don't know. If you don't agree with it, I don't know what to say, but this has just been my experience as a mom, that I notice when I'm in a good mood, everybody's in a good mood. When I'm really ticked off and I'm really moody, I go back and I look, and you know why I'm really moody and I'm really in a bad mood? It's because my house is either not clean or things are disorganized. I can't get anything done. That's my trigger. That tells me that I need to get myself organized. And so that is actually what I am working on this week. I am taking some time to get myself organized like a boss, because that is what I've been saying. I can't get anything done. And then what happens is then we typically will say, I can't get anything done because the kids are distracting me. Is it really the kids? Because the kids in your family is what's first. That should be your first priority. Everything else comes behind it. So when you're starting to feel like that, and I know I have been feeling that way, where I'm like, I am just so overwhelmed. I've got a lot of things to do and I am going a mile a minute. It's because I'm not organized. And once you get yourself organized, then it's like, oh, I can do this. I don't have a problem. I can get this done. And then you're able to take on other things like, the occasional tantrum that, some people in your house will throw. So hopefully that gives you guys some tips and tricks, especially you moms who are out there, because being a homesteader and being a mom at the same time, let me tell you, it is no joke. You are just busy. And the busier we are, the more busy we are, the more we need to be organized. And so hopefully that gives you guys some inspiration. Like I said, I'm not explaining this to you from a place of I've got it together. No, I have to work on it too. But again, hopefully this gives you the inspiration and the gusto to go for it, mama. You can do it. Get yourself organized, get your house in order, and then all you have to do is try your best to maintain it. Well, that's it from all of us here at the Homestead. Next week, it will be me and Kevin, and we are going to be talking about another fantastic topic dealing with all things homesteading. And again, we are having an episode coming up pretty soon where we're going to be answering you guys' questions. So if you guys have got any questions that you want featured on the podcast, please direct message me. Direct message me in Instagram, because that's the only place that I'm taking your questions. Those questions are the ones that I will be featuring on the podcast in about 2 weeks, I believe. We'll be doing a question and answer session. So send them in. If you got any questions that you want featured, let us know. And let us know also in the direct message if you feel comfortable with us mentioning your name. Again, that's it from all of us here. So from all of us on our homestead to wherever you are, stay safe out there and happy homesteading.